All right, so let me go back to this really quick. I'm working on a form for a customer and wanted to show some things that's really interesting but pretty cool to do. When doing a setup where you have multiple rules and controls and you want to do show and hide, but you want to kind of do require fields as well, one of the easiest things to do is use a group and then also show hide within the group and require within the group. So for example, I have payment exception here. When this equals yes, I want to show this payment exceptions vendor field. I also want to make these fields required. The way I normally would have done it would be to actually hide these fields upon initial loading, and that is so that they aren't showing. And I'll show you what that looks like really quickly. So here, so now when I load it in, the fields aren't showing, and then I would have a rule, and that rule would basically say show these fields and then hide them. So here's a rule for required. I already started some of this, but I would want to then show some of these fields. Oops, ERP as an example, and then just set the visibility here to yes, and I would do these for the remaining fields that are in there as well. So setting the visibility to yes here. So another one, invoice number. Remember that. Visibility, set it to yes. And then I would also do the last one really quick, justification, visibility, yes. Now, mind you, when you do that for that, it's often common to repeat and then do the same thing. So I would say, like, I'm just going to do justification as an example. Visibility, set it to no, and then I'm going to show you what happens. Actually, let's go back. Let's not do that. Close out of that. Cancel that. I'm going to change this really quick because I have it already done. So I'm going to take that out, and I'm going to take this out. So what ends up happening is go back to preview. Let's not say that. There we go. So in preview, if I go payment exceptions, so here you'll notice that cool, collapsing, showing, and then I can do payment exceptions, yes. Now it's showing and hiding that. So if it's set to no, you also see that it doesn't hide because I didn't set that in my rule. That's something to be aware of as well. So you have to show and hide in the rules. That's the normal way to do that, easy way to do that. However, one of the other things that I like to show is you can get away with doing all of that by using the group and modifying the rule to just the group. So we're going to go back. I'm going to add the group back in there because I had taken it out to kind of show that as an example. So I'm going to do payment exception vendors detail. I'm going to now control the group, and I'm going to set the group to yes. I'm going to take away all the individual fields. So now I'm going to show and hide the group, and then I'm also going to modify this to the group only. So visible no. So what I've done is instead of me showing and hiding individual items or fields, now I'm going to show, interesting, right? Show and hide the group. However, I need to go back into the original thing and actually unhide these. And this then allows you to minimize the amount of things that you are now toggling or managing when it comes to each individual thing. So now these are showing, they're showing by default, which is great. We're going to, by default, hide the group. And then if it equals yes, we're going to show the group, make them required. If it equals no, we're going to unhide the group, or hide the group rather, and make them not required. And you want to do the make them not required on the no, because by default they're not required. But if you say yes, now they are required. If I would just say no and hide them, they would still be required but hidden. So those are the two, like the logic that you have to think about when you're doing rules inside of Nintex, but in most forms as well, is whenever you set something, you always have to generally undo it. But if you look at the original action, they are by default they're visible by default. We're hiding them by default, and then they're not required by default. So when we actually apply the rule fires. We want to make them required and now visible, and then we want to hide and unrequire them. And so I hope that helps clean up some of your rules, makes your rules super simple, but then also gives you the ability to actually manage your rules a little bit faster and more effectively. So, cool.